Okay, so if you remember the bris bein Absarim, this is the first covenant with Avram, right? So they got he cuts a lamb in half, he walks through the lambs, a weird thing, right? Okay, so in this, God puts out the borders of Israel, okay, and so in the Psukim he says, right? It says I'm looking at the second paragraph of the Psukim, Pasuk Yutes, Esakeni, Esakenizi, Esakadmoni. As Achiti Haprizi Haraphaim, and Moria Kanani Gershuni Yevusi. Okay, so Rashi says Eser Umos Yeshkan. Okay, now like what makes this even better and more challenging is the Torah doesn't tell you like borders from this spot to this spot. It says from these people's lands to those people's lands. So like, you got to know where those people lived, right? Okay, so Rashi says Eser Umos. There are 10 nations. Lo nasalem ela shiva goyim. Now God only gave us 7 of them. Shlosha Edom, Moav, Ammon, those are 3 more. Vehem Kini, Kenizi, and Kadmoni. Edom, Moav, and Ammon are actually the Kini, Kenizi, and Kadmoni. Okay, so that's who those are. Okay. Atidim Lios Yerushalasi. In the future, those will be our lands. Okay. So in the future, can you see the purple lines? I'm pointing to the
Mhm.
side because that's where my other monitor is. But that like so the purple lines that goes all the way from like the entire Sinai Desert, almost all of Lebanon and Syria, and half of Iraq, and the northern part of Saudi Arabia, and all of Jordan, obviously, and all of what's today like the northern tip of Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's like the what we call Greater Israel. Now, the only people that use this map are anti-Semites because they're the ones that say like, oh, this is what Israel is aiming for, right? But no Jew ever says like one day I'm gonna have property outside of Baghdad. That'll be like this is like we'd have to fly from place to place in Israel. Like to get places. This is like a real massive amount of land. Okay, that's seems like Eretz Yisrael. Okay, now there's no way, like the things that you are saying in terms of why we need borders, no one's ever going to say that, like, if you're out in Baghdad, you've got to keep like Trumos and Maestros. You got to like tithe your fruits. No one's ever going to say that
Why?
because we don't. No, I'm not
Meaning,
saying, yeah, I'm saying we just don't, we don't, no one
but
says that
but
this
why?
is, okay, great. Okay, good question, right? Why don't we say that this is Eretz Yisrael? And like, if I go on a Pesach program to Jordan, I only have to keep one day. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So that's like, if I live through it. So that would be, right? That's like okay. Okay, let's see here. Now, if you skipped
Hey,
about
Rabbi, sorry to interrupt. Did you make that purple border yourself?
nope, I found it online. Now I don't know how to go back. Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on. No, hold on. I don't know how to use Google Slides.
So are we trusting that like
Yeah,
is that consensus?
yeah. No, I don't. I haven't seen anyone disagree with this. Shoot, how do
Okay.
I get out of this? John, do you know how to get? I keep going to the next slide.
I see something at the bottom right. Is there something, a little button you can click on?
No, that's like to check if kids use ChatGPT. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, here. Okay, so good. So now we're here. Okay, great. Now let's go here. Now we go to Bamidbar. Okay, and this is Hashem telling Moshe and Yoshua. They're standing like what's really cool is that like if I look a little past my monitor, I see the mountain they're actually standing on when gave God these commands. Okay,
Nice.
so right, it's like right out my window. So okay, so like so God, they're standing at the border of Jordan, right, in the gray areas, essentially where they're staying there. Okay. And God says you're going to go ahead and conquer the land, right? And this is the border of what God says to Yoshua and Moshe of what you should conquer. So this is obviously much smaller, right? So this is the Golan, a lot of Syria, a lot of Lebanon, and some of like North Sinai and like half of Jordan. Now, the gray part wasn't what God told to conquer. That's what the 2.5 tribes said. We want to keep this, right? So that's now. This is what like so now when we well, like what excites me in when I study Torah is when I find like a contradiction between let's say two sayings in the Rambam. That's like that's a steer that gets me excited. Tosfos, like his like 3/4 of his entire commentary is two statements in the Talmud that contradict each other, right? And then how do you solve it? Okay, here you have the ultimate. you've got a contradiction by God himself. There's no way of reading this otherwise, right?
Well,
God tells, yeah, sorry.
so why is it a contradiction versus like call it an addition, right? And I'm just by the if Ruvain, Gad, and Menashe decided to occupy land, um, then that's call it conquest. That doesn't necessarily redefine the borders God gave us. We just expanded those borders. That doesn't change their halachic significance necessarily, and it doesn't necessarily contradict
No,
the.
that's not the contradiction I'm talking about. I'm
Okay.
talking about from here. One second. From here.
Okay.
John,
God,
right.
meaning God didn't give that land. So
Like
yet,
that they took land that should be ours. God should have said to Yeshua, like, go behind you and then go in front of you. Like, take everything behind you, right? Like,
right?
this is God should have said, listen, you're about to conquer the land, conquer this, because that's what I promised Avram,
Got
right?
it. So
What
that's a
is
matter
what is this?
so that could be a matter just of time, right? When does that all come into our possession?
Okay, fine, but like, why promise it to Avram and then tell us that? Well, what's the significance of this thing, right? This is just like a limited, like, why not take the whole thing?
Right.
Okay, so that's when I started realizing, okay, we got ourselves a ball game, right? Because now you're talking about you've got something. How do you solve this? How do you solve a contradiction between God, right? Like, so that's now you're really this is really good. Okay,
Right. Well, just
yeah.
to John's point, to me, it doesn't seem like contradiction. Like he's not God in Bamidbar didn't say these are the borders. He's saying, okay, now's the time to conquer this part, but maybe we have to wait till Mashiach to conquer, the bigger areas. I don't.
Okay, fine. So let's say you're and we're going to take that approach. Let's say we take that approach. Okay, so then you've got to answer two questions. I would have immediately if you'd say that to me. Okay, number one is then how do you define what Eretz Yisrael is? Right? That's number one. And number two, what's the factor that causes Israel to expand? Like, what does Mashiach have to do with borders?
So even if you take out Mashiach per se, it could be, practical. When we're 3 million people coming out of, 40 years of wandering the desert, we don't have the manpower to occupy that size land. And it's just a function, right? Until we get to a certain amount of people, we can't protect our borders, and therefore God's giving it to us, piece by piece.
No, it makes
And
sense, except until the fact that you realize that Hashem yilachem lachem, God fights our wars for us. So that's not something we have to worry about.
right, but he tries to do it in the natural way. You're not going to necessarily have two people holding off, 10,000 square miles.
You'd be right, except for the fact that you're wrong. Like, so when it comes to right, so when it comes to when we all go to Yerushalayim for the regel, right? So
Mhm.
3 times a year we go. Who's watching the borders? So God says, "Don't worry, I got it."
Okay.
So there's precedent, right? To say no, like God could do this. That's like the okay, good.
Yep.
We got our questions. This is not like an easy like solution here.